Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name's Sarah and I am the mom of a 15-month-old little boy named George. Today I'm going to be bringing you along in the kitchen with us, and we're going to be putting together some fun meals and snacks, and they so happen to be a St. Patrick's Day theme. Recently, George and I started cooking and baking more and more together in the kitchen. It started off with small things, probably around the 12-month mark, and has sort of slowly become a little bit easier, but it definitely still takes a ton of patience and a ton of time. But I do really enjoy doing it with him. We did cooking more before, and I just started with the baking a couple of weeks ago. The reason I waited on the baking was mostly because of the flour aspect of it going everywhere and the measuring. I just wasn't sure that he was going to be able to do well with it. But what I started doing was I started to prep ahead, and I started to measure out all the ingredients first. So that way the next day he can just take the little containers and pour them into the bowl, and then we can mix everything together and put them in the muffin tins ourselves. So we've made muffins so far, so I wanted to make another round of muffins soon. I thought, okay, well, I'll do maybe a baking video for you guys. Then I was looking up recipes, and I really enjoy adding some veggies to pretty much anything I can, and I found these recipes for spinach banana muffins, and they ended up, all the pictures online looked really green, and I thought, oh wow, that would actually be a really good snack idea for like St. Patrick's Day. And then I was like, it's March right now, St. Patrick's Day is upon us. So we thought we would share some recipes with you, and we do enjoy eating a lot of green foods, so it's March, why not make it a St. Patrick's Day recipe theme type thing. We are Irish as well, so we like to kind of have fun around St. Patrick's Day. I tried with the eggs. It got kind of messy. So we wash our hands again. It's a good lesson on hand washing. Oh man, this was the best part. So all of our ingredients are together, we put them all in the blender, and now it was time to blend them up. He loves finding rhythm to the blender and dancing to the blender and watching the ingredients go around. And of course, on the blender, there's lots of buttons to push, so he loves pushing the buttons. He's actually not exactly strong enough to push the buttons himself, so he likes to take my fingers and push them with me, and the blender is just the best thing ever. So we have been making smoothies for a while, so he's used to the blender. And then right after that, we got to do the mixer too. So it was like two exciting things back to back, the blender and then the mixer. He had a lot of fun. It was adorable. It was sort of interesting too watching him, because with a lot of things I started off with him transferring, so lots of vegetables and fruits, especially for smoothies, we transfer bits of banana, for example, into the blender and stuff like that. But with a lot of these ingredients, you can dump them as well, so you can see him kind of trying to figure out which ones you're supposed to transfer with your hands and which ones you're supposed to dump, and that you can do either for some of them, so watching him kind of choose which one to do. Okay, we're gonna pour together, okay? Hold that. Hold the handle. Yep. Wow. Wow. Okay. Ready? Yeah. No, we're gonna keep your hands really far away. Okay. This is a newer gadget for us and he loves it. So we put our blender ingredients into the mixer with the dry ingredients. I decided to hold him up so that he could see, and of course to keep his hands back because I wouldn't want him going anywhere near the mixer while it's on with his hands. And he loved it too. He was kind of like unsure, like, what is this thing? But then he found some rhythm to it too, of course. Our muffin mix. So when we did the muffins about a week ago, he seemed a lot more interested in the flour that was on the table, like kind of playing in it, than he was with actually scooping the batter into the tins. So this week I thought would be the same, so I sprinkled some flour on the surface so that he could play with it while I did that. But he seemed way more interested in actually doing the scooping of the batter with me into the tins this time. So what I did was I used an ice cream scoop, one of those old school ones with the lever, and it was perfect because the batter actually stayed inside of the scoop until he was in the right position, and then I would just hit the button and it would drop. So it worked out really well. So give that a try, an ice cream scoop, when you're doing your muffin batters. Or I imagine cookies would be equally as good, but yeah. But yeah, I was impressed that worked out really well. And I just got it at the dollar store, of course. I wanted to keep him in his learning tower over at the table so that he could see what the muffins looked like in their tins as they were going into the oven, but of course wanted to keep him very far away from the oven because it's hot and it's also down at his level. So I kept him up in the learning tower, and this is when he started playing in the flour. So I knew he'd like it eventually. So I showed him the tins with the batter in it, we put it in the oven, and then had fun playing with the flour for a little while too. Next up is a dinner recipe idea. So we decided to do a chicken pasta with a basil pesto. And it was super easy, toddler version. I used to make a really fancy version of this for Dave and I before we had George. And it was, I made my own pesto and I toasted the pine nuts and used all fresh vegetables and chopped them up and everything. This is just as delicious and it's a lot easier. So I used a jar of PC pesto sauce and I used a lot of frozen vegetables, and that's it. It's just super easy, super simple. He did a lot of the dumping. I did a lot of the prep work myself. myself, and that really helped out a lot too. So here I'm just cutting up the chicken. George is pretty good with his independent play these days, so I was okay with doing a lot of this stuff while he was underneath me. Directly underneath me is the cupboard where I have all of his stuff that he can play with, so he just kind of played under in the cupboard while I chopped up chicken. That was no big deal, and just kind of got it all ready for him. But if your kids are not so great with the independent play and it's just going to be easier for you to prep even when they're sleeping, then that's something that I've done as well. Next up was a lunch idea that I had. It is a caterpillar, my take on the very hungry caterpillar snack. You could do this with balls of rice, so almost like a vegetarian sushi roll kind of thing. I happen to have some falafel balls on hand. I just popped those in the oven and used those as the base. Basically just peeled some cucumber and let George cut up a little bit of avocado. Then I put them onto the caterpillar. I was a little short on time for this one, so I did a lot of the assembling of it. And then what I did was I had some spinach and some cilantro chopped up, and he helped me to sprinkle it on, and he had a lot of fun with that. I just used 2 multigrain Cheerios for the eyes of the caterpillar, and then I used a little bit of a peel of an apple to make sort of like little antennas. I didn't have a chance really at the end to style this and take like a really nice sort of Insta-worthy picture of it, but it turned out really cute in real life. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this, and you can probably do it a lot better, but it was a cute idea. And of course, using all green things, it is St. Patrick's Day-ish, so I wanted to share it with you, and it was delicious. The 3 of us actually enjoyed picking at this on the side of our lunch that day. And last but not least, we did a St. Patrick's Day breakfast with eggs. The recipe idea that I found for this one actually suggested to take green peppers, slice them thin widthwise so that you had sort of almost a clover leaf shaped outline, and then crack an egg into it, cook the egg in it that way, which looked great. But because I wanted George to be able to be included in the cooking of it, we've practiced making scrambled eggs multiple times, so I wanted to kind of go on the scrambled egg train. What I did was I just scrambled up some eggs with some spinach in the blender so that it really got that green color. I used to do this for him when he was younger and we were doing baby-led weaning. I would blend it all up in the blender. I would make a patty for him and then cut it up with a crinkle cutter into strips. As he's gotten older, he's really enjoying the transferring of the spinach into the eggs. One more step that he can do, so we've made it more of a chopped spinach in the eggs and kind of more chunky that way. But because this is a St. Patrick's Day thing, I thought it'd be fun to like blend it up and make it really green looking. So definitely green eggs, and we put them inside of the clover, the pepper clover, just to make it look extra St. Patty's Day like. And if you have it on hand, we didn't, but you can add some ham in there too. And then of course you got your green eggs and ham, and that's always a fun breakfast. All right guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us on this St. Patrick's Day edition. It was really fun having you in the kitchen cooking with us. If you're afraid to bring your toddler into the kitchen, don't be. Just make sure you bring a lot of patience and get ready to have a bit of a mess and a cleanup. But as long as you have your expectations pretty low, it's a really fun activity for both you guys, and you're making memories, and this is what it's all about really. So I hope you got some ideas for some fun things to do in the kitchen. Feel free to leave me a comment about some things that you do in the kitchen with your toddler, maybe some recipe ideas or one of your favorite things to make with your toddler in the kitchen. I would love to try it out too. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Happy St. Patrick's Day!